This title is narrated with virtual voice, computer-generated narration for audiobooks. Summon Book 1 by W.G. Spillman. Part 1. Valkyrie. I awoke in a body that was not my own, but it took me a few moments to realize that. The first thing I noticed was that I was lying on my back, staring up a clear, starry night sky. The sky was dense with stars, more than I'd ever seen, even camping in the wilderness. Looking slightly downward, past my feet, I saw an enormous white spire which seemed to glow for a moment, then faded. It was round, and as my eyes dizzily tracked it downward, I could see that it flared out toward the base. Then I saw my breasts. I hadn't had breasts a few minutes ago, I was pretty sure. What had I been doing? Right? I'd been sitting in my apartment, playing one of my favorite online video games. I must have passed out, and now I was here. And I had boobs. Big ones. Bizarre theories shot through my head. I'd been kidnapped, and someone had given me breast implants as a joke or experiment. I'd had an embolism, and was hallucinating as I died. I'd been drugged and my brain transplanted into another body. I was in a coma, and this was the vivid dream my mind was creating. They all seemed equally plausible at first, but the embolism and coma one soon won out as I gathered my wits. I lifted my head, then bolted upright. Around me, hundreds of other people were doing the same. We were all naked, with our feet oriented toward the towering white spire. There seemed to be a fairly equal mix of men and women, possibly slightly favoring the men, everyone built like fashion models. I looked down at my new body. I was now a slender woman with pale skin. My body was also completely hairless. For some reason, I felt a need to touch my head, and found that I had long hair there. Just none below that. My beard was gone, and my face felt soft and delicate as I ran a hand over it. My breasts looked too large for the slender body they were on, but they looked natural, not like implants. I very tentatively touched one. It was extremely odd. I'd felt women's breasts before I was no virgin, but this time, my hand was much smaller, and I got the double sensation of the familiar feeling through my hand, well as through the breast itself. My breast. It creeped me out. I snatched my hand away. Around me, people were standing up, calling out in questioning or angry voices. I hopped to my feet. My body felt so light. Sure, this body probably weighed no more than 120 pounds or so, half the weight of the one I had left, but there was more to it than that. I flexed my arm and touched it. The muscles were like steel cables under soft, smooth skin. That was also creepy, and raised even more questions. Since everyone was naked and attractive, few people seemed to feel a need to cover themselves. Instead, they were all looking around, just as confused as I was. Well, maybe not quite as confused as I was. No one else looked like they'd awoken in a body of the wrong gender. Some were pretty enamored with themselves, though. I saw several men admiring their own biceps, pecs, and abs, as well as a few women with similar pleasantly astonished looks as they examined themselves. Despite my confusing body, I had still been one of the first to stand up, which gave me a good view of the place I was in. There was no moon I could see. Everything was lit only by starlight, but aside from a lack of color, I could see nearly as well as I could have in daylight. We were on a huge, circular field centered on the spire. My memories of football fields led me to judge that it was of a comparable distance from the spire to a wooden fence surrounding it all, beyond which were the dark forms of trees. I had to revise my estimate of the number of naked people here from several hundred to a few thousand. I was about halfway between the spire and the fence. More and more people were standing up, and I realized that my new body was not very tall.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.